back to the last time that you were angry about something. What was the reason? Now think a little harder and tell me more. What was like the deep, below the surface, soul aching reason that explains exactly why you were angry? I started to think about the different ways that anger can manifest when I witnessed a rather unpleasant interaction between two of my family members back at Christmas dinner in 2023. The interaction between these two people had the surface level tension that we can see really in any disagreement. They just seemed so angry and mad at each other. But as I tried to understand more about how two people could be angry with each other over something that seemed like super trivial, at least on the surface and at least to me, actually, their anger was just a symptom of something that was deeper, a deeper kind of hurt. I've thought about that interaction a lot since December. Now it's February. And I finally decided to do some research. Today I'm going to share with you what I have learned personally and through research when it comes to experiencing and expressing anger, and how to get to the bottom of what is really causing you in any situation to feel so pissed off. Hey y'all, if you're new to the channel, my name is Nicole and I make videos about wellness, all aspects of wellness. Today we're talking about mental health, but I make videos about all aspects of wellness and some little vlogs to share some of my everyday life. So if you'd like to keep updated with that, make sure that you subscribe and like the video. Now, let's get back to talking about why we are so pissed off about something. First, let me tell you that unless you are a time traveler somehow, you are not just some meathead caveman walking around experiencing kind of black and white emotions. So even if you really do want to clobber Tim, you know, that guy from accounting who's very annoying, every time you see him, you just want to clobber him over the head, you are still not just an angry cave person. But with the privilege of being a sophisticated, multifaceted human being comes the responsibility of figuring out your own shit, especially as you get older and have to deal with not only your own emotions, but also the emotions of other meatbags around you, like Tim from accounting. And that brings us back to the emotion of anger. So a textbook description of anger is that anger is just a natural response to perceived threats, injustice, or frustration. It's often characterized by some kind of increased heart rate and the desire to express or defend oneself, like clobbering Tim over the head, you know, that guy from accounting, with a club or whatever is nearby. But that definition doesn't really get to the bottom of how we can feel anger that is caused by deeper emotions. Once we get past that surface level definition, we can actually use something called an emotions wheel that I learned about recently, and I'm going to put the link to it down in the description. So the website that this comes from is super cool. They actually have different versions of this emotions wheel that you can use with various age groups, like different age groups of people, like from kids all up to adults. But since YouTube has told me that you are likely old enough to need Advil for your knees, I am going to use the adult version of this. YouTube told me that you may be 45 years or younger, so we're going to use the adult version. And we also have to acknowledge that we're basically just like really complicated, fleshy house plants. So let's talk about these emotions. So zooming in on the anger part of this emotions wheel, you can see that there are 8 subcategories, and then there are actually another 16 subcategories that are associated with the first 8. Here's a story as an example that I'm going to share with you from my personal experience to help you kind of get through how to use the wheel to decipher your own emotions. So a few years ago, I actually had a coworker who blatantly lied on me about getting a task done and saying it wasn't done, but it was actually done. I felt like it was an effort to try to sabotage me and my manager and the new ways of doing things that I was trying to bring to the table, aka what they literally hired me to do. So being lied on for me though is one thing that really makes me so angry because it really feels like such a slap in the face. It feels like a high level of disrespect. It made me furious. I was ready to go cave woman and clobber this person over the head with some kind of, mallet. But let's talk about how my anger manifested towards my bitch ass coworker. My coworker in this case. I felt aggressive, mad, and frustrated. I also felt betrayed because nothing really happened to this guy, even though he lied on me and was reported to HR. Nothing happened. So looking at the second subcategory level, I also felt betrayed, disrespected, violated, hostile, withdrawn, and skeptical. Skeptical of how the rest of my employment would actually go with this company based on this experience. So for me, the main fuel that influenced my anger was the feelings of being betrayed and disrespected. I also felt like the little trust that I had in my fellow coworkers had already been ruined less than 90 days into my employment because this one coworker violated what I personally considered to be an important part of being a human, and that is just being honest. So I know that is a pretty simplistic example, but I did want to share something with you guys that I thought would come across as like relatable, like something that most of us can relate to, some conflict at work. And I also can see upon closer examination that these emotions, the emotions wheel that I picked out for us, we need a little bit of a copywriter to check it out. There are some misspellings and things, but this wheel is still very useful with helping kind of to start to dig down into why your anger is manifesting in the way that it is. I've also had some long discussions with friends who describe themselves as quote unquote angry people, when in my personal experience of them as friends, I would not describe them as angry people at all. So if you have had discussions with your friends when they are mad and they automatically kind of label themselves as angry people, you might also want to try to gently discuss with them why they may be angry, like digging down deeper instead of just this surface level of like, I am mad, I am bad, There's a lot of reasons why we can really feel angry. Perhaps their coworker lied on them, their partner disrespected them or cheated on them. Perhaps their partner plays video games all day instead of trying to hold a steady job and occasionally taking out the trash. That can make people feel angry, but it's related to feeling violated and used. You get the idea. So back to what you came up with at the beginning of this video. Thinking about the last time that you were angry. So now if we want to dig a little deeper and think about the reasons why, tell me, why were you really angry? What was beneath the surface? So if you enjoyed this video, first I would love to hear from you what comments you have about your own anger, things that make you angry, any questions that I can research for you to help you with digging into your own emotions. I am just starting with anger because it was something that was on my mind and on my heart for the past over 2 months. So that's why I started with anger, but I look forward to kind of talking about more of like the baseline emotions and how we can experience those emotions more. So if that sounds interesting to you, again, make sure you subscribe, like the video. It really does help me out as a small content creator, helps me to grow, helps the channel to grow. And lastly, if you'd like to support the channel, you can check out my website and blog, which is linked down below. And again, subscribe to the channel. All right, I want to hear from you. Comment below, let me know what you think. And I'll see you in the next video. Try not to clobber that one guy from accounting over the head with a bat in the meantime. Stay true to you. Namaste.